you tried scratching your fingers on the covers for this week's
Initial counts. The initial counts. Initial counts.
Oh hey, it's another episode of Star Trek. I promise I'm excited as I start writing this 12 hours into a very long day. Let's talk about the second episode of Season 4. I have no bones, yet I must flee. We're going to start off with a like for coming back basically where we left off, but with Romulan lower deckers lamenting cleaning up a torture chamber while playing up the backstabbing of their superiors, like in Balance of Terror or Face of the Enemy. Specifically, this like is for a Carolyn Seymour-esque portrayal of the Romulans by one of them. This is all ended the same way as the Klingons went out in our previous episode. The mystery craft claims another victim, and somewhere in space, there's a captain's chair without a bulkhead. After the opening credits, we get both a callback and answer to the question, was this scene in TNG's The Price the worst failure of the Bechdel test in Trek history? If it's not, the answer definitely lies somewhere between these two women. Though, I have a big like for Ransom and Shax rocking the 80s sweatwear, meant for another sex. Mariner accidentally overhears the wrong part of a conversation about her and catastrophizes, per the usual, for the bulk of the rest of the run. I'm just going to give an overall like for Tendi and Boimler's boxes as they move out of their ensign bunks. Particularly Boimler's box keeps showing more and more callbacks to stuff we've seen previously. Over the course of the episode, we see in Boim's box a random saucer section, a plate in the style of "We'll always have Tom Paris," but isn't Tom Paris, but the USS Cerritos. His Captain Freeman Day banner, I believe the plaque for the Boimler effect, Medusan goggles from TOS's Is There in Truth No Beauty, his Batleths and Benachs die, an Ad Astra per Aspera poster from the Strange New Worlds crossover ep this past season, an awesome Mirror Universe Archer doll, a Spock doll, and one I can't quite pin down. Comment below who you think wouldn't stay on the ledge when Bradward's sleeping in the Jeffries tubes. Tendi's box contains a picture of the dog that she genetically created, and Rutherford gives her the Cerritos model they put together in an embarrassment of duplers. Rutherford's box later contains the model of DS9 we previously saw not put together, containing a Jadzia and an Ezri. Also, he's messing with the repulsor beam built by Wesley Crusher in The Naked Now. The brief second hold on the empty bunks as everyone clears out is a moment that kind of hits you after it being the gathering spot and opens and closes for 3 seasons, and this gives way to a new set of challenges. Which brings me to the next like, for Boimler getting the least choice bunk assignments on the ship before ending up with Samanthan in the end in a double room. So this is just the C plot up to this point. In the A plot, Mariner does what she does every time she gets a promotion and purposely tries to get rid of her hollow pip on an away mission with a green ensign that ends up in the crossfire of Mariner's misplaced rage for Jack. They're ordered to pick up humans put into a menagerie somehow by accident, where they're the only sentient life forms. It's weird, but we'll come back to them. The callback species I could find in this zoo are a glommer from More Tribbles, More Troubles, an Aldebram serpent, which Q once appeared as in Hide and Q. I believe there's a Klingon Targ next to him, a sky snake from last season's A Mathematically Perfect Redemption, but it's the newest, cutest, and deadliest critter this week that gets a great big like. Yeah, Moopsy, the proof that Pokemon exists in the Trek universe, makes one of the greatest bad guys in all of Trek history. It's not particularly fast or smart, but it will drink the bones of even banana plant men that don't have them. Hence the long-winded title to this episode that I will probably never remember correctly going forward. It's, I have no bones, but drinking is bad. No, wait. I have bones, but Moopsies are good. Anyway, it's a creature we'll never easily forget. And Ransom gets a new set of gigantically weird chompers to lure it back into its home, just to find out the caged humans, like from The Cage / The Menagerie two-parter, let the cute little demon terror loose to try and gain control of the station for themselves. This does allow Mariner to work through some of her problems of self-sabotage. All Moopsies aside, let's swing back to the B-plot about Samanthan trying to catch up in rank with his friend's new Hollow Pips, only to be beat at every turn by a mysterious new engineer named Lubbock that Rutherford makes an enemy of in the end, when Tendi just nonchalantly gets Billups to promote him over Lubbock. Now, I've got some mixed feelings about this that end up in no likes or dislikes awarded. On the one hand, I sinned the show's previous episode for not promoting Samanthan, and I would take that away. But after everything he does, Tendi just getting it for him after we discover he'd turned down the promotions before to maintain rank with his friends, Tendi is the character that's experienced the most growth getting her pips so far, using her new position to help others. I think the only other random callback I have to mention is to Anna and Shax doing some role-playing of Robin Hood in the holodeck, calling back to a bit of Cupid. Oh, and calling back to Trek's oldest, most reused prop, the two energy-looking sci-fi tubes. And now, there's 3. And that gets a like from me. Here's the thing, I only think this was a middle-of-the-road episode in the grand scheme of Lower Decks. So I'm going to give one single dislike here as just an overuse of callbacks for the sake of callbacks. It is what makes the show great, but the more organic the callbacks, the better. This episode overall does a pretty standard script. It has 3 concurrent plots, plus a weird tip to a season arc as a cold open. And they pack all of this into less than 30 minutes. Even when the show is only okay versus other episodes of itself, it's smart and witty in ways that most general television has lost in recent years. If you've enjoyed the content, please consider a like and subscribe. Peace and long life. I've been your host, Dustin Wing.